Hello, athletes, and welcome to the pre-race webinar for the Draft Legal Sprint Triathlon World Championship Qualifier taking place in Sarasota, Florida on Saturday, October 7, 2017. This event is part of a larger and bigger festival that is coined as the Sarasota Bradenton Triathlon Festival. So as you watch and listen to this webinar, this will highlight all the specific event details. This will also be posted and you will be receiving in a e-blast as well, so you can watch as many times as you would like. Running through the schedule of events to begin with, on Friday, October 6th, it will be mandatory packet pickup, which is on site at Nathan Benderson Park from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. There will be an age group swim course summarization from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Age group draft legal bike check-in will be a mandatory bike check-in. So very important to note that you must check your bike in the night before. Officials will be checking your gear upon check-in to transition, and that will take place from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. And at 5:30 p.m., there will be a mandatory age group draft legal briefing also held at Nathan Benderson Park. Moving on to Saturday, which is race day, draft legal triathlon transition will open at 5:30 and will close promptly at 7 o'clock a.m. Final instructions will be given by our lead official, who will be Jay Ritterbeck, at 7 o'clock a.m. at the swim start area. We will then proceed with 2 male waves and 2 female waves. The first draft legal men's wave will be wearing powder blue caps at 7:15 start. 7:30 a.m. start will be wave 2 for the men. They will be wearing white caps. We'll then have a break of about an hour and 15 minutes before the draft legal women wave 1 will begin at 8:45 wearing red caps, and wave 2 for the women will begin at 9 o'clock a.m. wearing yellow caps. Immediately following racing for both men and women, at 11:10 a.m. the age group draft legal award ceremony will take place directly across from the grandstands at Water's Edge. I mentioned the pre-race briefing, so we've listed that it's mandatory. We would like for everyone to attend this. So Jay Ritterbeck and Craig Hankin will be leading this pre-race briefing on Friday, October 6th at 5:30 p.m. This will take place at the athlete dining tent, which is right next to the age group transition area. Please note that from a timing chip standpoint, you will receive that upon check-in to transition on race morning. Packet pickup procedure, so you must have your photo ID and USA Triathlon membership card. And as I mentioned in the previous slide, all athletes will receive their timing chip upon check-in to transition on race morning. So very important, you won't receive your timing chip when you check your bike in the night before. You will receive that timing chip on race morning. So very important from a parking standpoint. So if you follow the green arrow here, this is the island. So this is where everything will be happening from a race perspective. So as you see at this location here, this is where transition will be located. This is where the finish line will be located. And there will be no parking whatsoever on the island. So parking will be directly adjacent to the island. So there is a $5 per car cash only charge to park in this lot. It's just a short walk over to the venue. Once you get to this location where you're crossing North Cattleman Road, you will be crossing a live bike course. So please make sure you heed the advice of not only police, but also the volunteers manning that crossing to successfully and safely get you over to the island. Going through body marking and sticker placement. So this is a photo of what the race bib will look like. So athletes will get their race bib in their packet, and it is mandatory that this is worn on the run. Your bike sticker. So you'll be receiving a sticker sheet. Located here is where that sticker sheet, where your bike sticker will be for this sticker sheet. So this is the bike sticker sheet here with a thick red box around it. So you will wrap that around your seat post. This must be adhered to your bike upon checking your bike into transition the night before. In terms of bike equipment, aero bars are not permitted. Again, Jay will go over this in the pre-race briefing. You can also find additional information at draftlegalrules.com. But again, no aero bars are permitted in draft legal racing. For bike equipment, bike frames shall be of a traditional pattern, built around a closed frame of straight or tapered tubular elements, which may be round, oval, flattened, teardrop shaped, or otherwise in cross section. Additionally, bikes must be built around a diamond shape with no saddle down tube or with a rear triangle which does not connect at the top of the down tube. Top tube section are considered acceptable. If you do have any questions in terms of your bike or bike equipment, please reach out to Craig Hankin. He's our draft legal specialist. So his email is craig.hanken, HANKEN, at usatriathlon.org. This kind of runs through the specific bike equipment. So starting with the front wheel, disc brakes are not permitted whatsoever. Only traditional drop style handlebars and brake levers are allowed. Clip-on arrows are not allowed. The ends of both handlebars must be securely capped with bar end plugs. So very important that is done prior to arrival at race site. As I mentioned, your bike seat post sticker must be either around the seat post or on the top tube of the frame, depending on how high that seat post is elevated. Additionally, both wheels must have the same diameter and must have a minimum of 12 spokes. Very important to note as well that disc wheels are not permitted. So to kind of recap the wheels, 12 or more spokes, wheels must be of the same diameter. So for example, they both must be 650s or 700s, so you can't have a 650 on the front and a 700 on the back. And again, no disc wheels are allowed. In terms of your helmet as it relates to the bike, so you'll receive 2 helmet stickers. You must wear a minimum of 1 of those stickers on your helmet, as depicted by the picture below. Additionally, all helmets must have a CPSC sticker on the inside of that helmet. So this is a little more details on that CPSC helmet. You must wear your undamaged, unaltered protective head cover, which is your helmet. It must meet or exceed those safety standards, which is documented by that CPSC sticker that will be on. It needs to be on the inside of your helmet. Chin straps should be snug around your chin. So upon check-in to transition, you need to make sure that the helmet on the chin strap is fastened, so officials may inspect that. Aero helmets are not recommended for this style of racing. Lastly, you'll be receiving a bag drop label. So you'll be receiving a clear plastic bag upon packet pickup. That is where you will put all your race items in, and then you will take that to the back check tent to tag and for it to be monitored by volunteers. So no excess bags in transition, thus the rationale for having this bag drop label. Body marking, all athletes will receive a quad set of temporary tattoos in their race packet. These should be worn and should be placed on the outside of each bicep and on the outside of each calf. We will have sport safe markers as well if you do wish to be body marked. For racking, so everyone that is racking in that transition area will have an assigned rack location. They will be noted with your athlete number, which corresponds to not only the number your body marking tattoos, but also all your race numbers. So your front wheel should be placed down on the side that your number is visible on. So this shows a visual. So you'll see here that this is athlete number 492. So the front wheel is down on the side that their number faces them on. Timing chips and swim caps. So timing chips must be worn around the ankle, and they will be handed out, as I've mentioned a couple times prior, upon check-in to transition on race morning. Upon completion of the race, timing chips will be collected at the finish line by our staff and volunteers. Swim caps will also be distributed at packet pickup. Those will already have your race numbers written on those, so nothing that you need to do swim cap related aside from making sure you bring that swim cap on race morning to wear during the swim portion of the race. You must wear your assigned swim cap for the race. And as I just mentioned, those numbers will be pre-written on those swim caps prior to you receiving during packet pickup. For bike check-in, again, mandatory on Friday before the race on October 6th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Officials will be reviewing your equipment before entering transition, and you should bring your bike, your helmet on your head, as I mentioned, strapped, uniform on body, and body marking on body to check in. We will have bike support that is provided by Village Bikes at transition before the race. Only athletes will be permitted into transition, so no family, friends, additional persons. So again, only athletes will be permitted into transitions, as well as race bags, race essentials only. No bags will be permitted. Here's the venue map, which kind of lays things out. So we'll start in the bottom right-hand corner. So parking will be here to be that short walk. So this will be your first crossing point to get across the live bike course to get over to the island. Once you're on the island, kind of highlighting the age group draft legal portion of things. So number 7 will be your transition area. The grandstands will be at 5. Directly across from those will be the finish line. So this is where you'll be finishing. Shifting over to the timing tower, which is 12 and 13, is where medical will be located as well. So this is kind of the main hub of the area. Number 8 is the bag check and bag drop area. And then directly next to that will be the age group and packet pickup area. Just to the west, if you're looking at the map, or south, if you're actually looking geographically, that will be the age group briefing tent. So pretty much everything on Friday will take place at this location here, including the transition area located at number 7, which is just east of the swim start and swim exit areas. Kind of running through the courses. So this is a quick overview to give you a good scope of kind of what is taking place and kind of how the venue lays out as a whole. So I'll kind of do a quick run through of this from a 10,000 foot perspective, and then we'll dive into each specific course where we can detail those specific items. So the swim course will be a 1-lap swim. Located here, you'll exit the water, head into transition, where you'll head out on the bike course. You'll head out on the north side of transition, complete your laps. Once the laps are completed, you will enter on the south side of transition. You will then exit transition after getting your running shoes on, out the north side of transition where you complete the run. It's an out and back run, which is a 1-lap course. As promised, the swim course is a 1-lap, 750-meter course. As of September 1st, the water temperature was 86 degrees. Wetsuits will be allowed if the water temperature is 71.6 degrees or less. So in all likelihood, it will not be a wetsuit legal swim. It will be a mass in-water start with your hand on the dock, which will be a floating dock in the water. It will be a counterclockwise loop with your buoys on your left shoulder, and the turn buoys will be orange can buoys. So at each end of the swim course, it'll be a 3-point turn. So again, buoys must be kept on your left shoulder. There'll be support on water with both boats, lifeguards, and personal watercraft, and please ensure that you are at the start 10 minutes before your wave starts. So detailing that swim course, again, this black line, if you follow the green arrow, is the floating dock. All athletes will be asked to not only to step onto the dock, but to enter the water feet first prior to your wave start. It'll be a hand on the dock. You will then swim north, rounding the 3 turn buoys. Again, you must swim to the outside of these, keeping these on your left shoulder. You will then head back south around the final 3 turn buoys. Those must be kept on your left shoulder as well. And then you will exit the water between 2 yellow tetrahedron buoys. After exiting the water, it'll be a short run to transition. Transition 1 in the bike course. So transition 1, your gear is on the bike behind the front wheel of the bike. So again, if you're racking your bike, and you should rack your bike to begin the race by the saddle, the front wheel needs to be down on the side that the number is facing you on with your gear behind that front wheel of the bike. There will be no bends. Now moving on to the bike course. So it'll be a 3-lap 18K course, which will be counterclockwise. It'll be a flat course with roads closed to traffic. Important to note, there will be no aid station and there will be no lap out rule enforced. Athletes are responsible for counting their own laps. So very important that you must count your own laps against a 3-lap course. Also important, your laps are completed on cattleman roads, so you will not enter back onto the island for each lap. So as you approach the island, it will be delineated by cones as well as signage, where it will say stay left to enter transition and stay right to continue on to your next lap. So you need to do your 3 laps out on Cattleman Road. Once you have completed that 3rd lap, you will stay left and enter into the transition area. So to detail a visual of how that will look, again, following the green arrow, you will enter transition after the swim. You will head out on the north side of transition. So following the red dots here, you will have a couple turns before you finally make that left-hand turn onto Cattleman Road. You'll follow the bike course around the island and around the swimming portion of the race. Back onto Cattleman Road, where you continue on Cattleman Road. So this is the point where you have to make the decision depending on which lap you're on. So if you are continuing on to laps 2 and 3, you will stay straight and continue the exact same course. Upon the completion of your third lap, you will stay left, where you'll make a left-hand turn over the bridge onto the island. You will dismount at approximately this location where the green arrow is located and run your bike into transition. Transition 2 in the run course. So entering T2, you'll rack your bike in either direction with both sides of the handlebar, brake levers, or the saddle. So again, you must rack at your same assigned rack position, but you may rack with either the handlebars or the saddle. All unused and used equipment must be placed underneath your bike rack. After this is done and you're transitioning to the run will be a 1-lap 5K out and back. So outbound will be on the left side, which is the side closest to the lake. Inbound to the finish will be on the outer side. It will be on a paved path, which is delineated by cones. There'll be 4 aid stations offering water and Gatorade Endurance formula in cups. We will have volunteers and staff on course, and very important to note, there will be a penalty box prior to heading to the finish line and right after crossing the bridge back onto the island. So it's your responsibility as an athlete to see whether or not your number is listed on that penalty board whiteboard. If it is, you need to pull off on the run and serve that penalty. Again, once we do that draft legal briefing on site, as well as draftlegalrules.com, if you visit that, it will give that in much more detail from the lead official, Jay Ritterbeck. Transition overview before we move on. The mount and dismount lines will be clearly marked with your bike racks individually numbered. And again, only athletes are permitted in that transition area. The finish line will have water, medical support, finisher medal, as well as individual printed unofficial results at the finish line. Penalties will be posted and all results will be final just before the awards ceremony. The award ceremony will take place at Water's Edge on the stage, directly across from the grandstands. Those will take place on Saturday, October 7th at 11:10 a.m. Age groups will begin with ages 15 through 19 and continue in 5-year increments. For those that will qualify for Team USA, Lauren Rios will head that up. That will not be done on site, so you will not need to claim your spot on site, but rather she will follow up immediately following the race with whether you have qualified for Team USA position. Lastly, a big thank you to our partners, suppliers, and travel partners, as well as NTT, who is one of the global sponsors via ITU. So in addition to not only your race, there'll be 5 other different races, with 3 of those being ITU produced races, in which NTT is one of those primary sponsors for those races. If you do have any questions, please feel free to send those to nationalevents@usatriathlon.org or visit draftlegalrules.com. Again, if you have any draft legal specific questions, you can go one of 2 routes, either sending those directly to the National Events email and then we can forward them on to Craig Hankin, or you may email Craig Hankin directly at Craig, C-R-A-I-G .Hankin, H-A-N-K-E-N @usatriathlon.org. So that wraps up the pre-race webinar. Wishing everyone safe travels and a safe race, and looking forward to seeing you in Sarasota, Bradenton on October 7th and 8th. Thank you, everyone.